Hey everyone, so another addition into Gene Keys, and this week we're going to explore Gene Key 8, which goes from what is it? The diamond self of the
Mediocrity,
creative, the diamond, right?
the diamond of the
And
self.
it goes from what is it?
Mediocrity.
Exquisiteness.
Mhm.
Yeah, you go, Ibi. You go.
No, I was just whispering.
Right.
Mediocrity. It goes from mediocrity to
That's right.
style to exquisiteness.
Yeah. And this sort of came out to me as from reading a book from Matthew McConaughey, his memoir from 5 years ago. And I don't know why, I just sort of jumped out about how he became very successful in his space and sharing his little anecdotes and stories. And one of his ways of going about his successes was obviously to be daring and to go into the present and to just live from that space, prep obviously the work, but also to do things differently what other people wouldn't do in a way. And so that gave me the idea of looking into Gene Keys 8 um, and seeing what's all going on around us, where there's lots of sameness happening. And and that really spoke to me more from like the shadow. So a shadow of this Gene Key is all about mediocrity. You're seen like the maintenance guy. Um, you're not exactly attuned to living in an intuitive life. It's very mechanical. There is no life involved. It's just following through from orders from other people, being engrossed into the system, but feeling that your energy and spirit is being sapped away. And so, um, when I read the book, as what I feel with the gene keys, it's about bringing spirit back, making sure you keep yourself alive. We both, Ibby and I, have spoken about this in previous keys from last week and beyond about the feeling of being alive. And this also coincides with this gene key style, style not being as something that's not fixed. So it's not just about the clothes that you wear or your outer appearances. It's also got to do with the way of being and also the way of doing things. And so when style is not fixed, it comes through from what is expressed from within and then shared without to other people. So what you may do or what you may feel or what you may think most likely will be different to what you see on the outside because of people's either lack of the inner worlds that goes on around them, and so you're bringing in the life back into that environment because you're feeling it from within. And therefore, you become a rebel. And it's a rebel that's not just for the sake of fighting, like a reactionary. It's one where you're responding to life and being creative in the process to bring about change to your environment. And this way of going about change happens, well, it can happen in any way you like. And to the masses, they may like one person bring about this change that creates a momentum, a bit like what you would see in Gene Key 49 with a revolution. But it would fear those who are all behaving like that, sort of like a pirate out at seas, you know, and has actually found their treasure. But if you're finding many people who are being rebellious in society, they become feared because they're going against the known and they're being daring and they're questioning everything and they're challenging everything. And like what I've seen in the past with, what's happened, for example, COVID, you know, people don't like to be questioned or people don't want authority to be challenged, as most people don't like to be challenged. So being a creative rebel is not just about being that fiery temper. You may have the energy to come out, but you're using it in a way that yields, that surrenders, and applies effort and action coming from a deeper space within you. And and then one last thing before I go to you, Ivy, is the exquisiteness is the unfolding of that gem that we all have within, which is the absolute, which is the unknown, which is the unmanifested, the formless essence, which is where all form, all things come out of, into this physical world. And it's a reminder that everything that's within us is actually all exquisite, it's divine sparks that is now shining its light, in this world and also beyond this world through transcending it. And how we do this is that we've got to include ourselves and then rise above it. So rise above the thought, rise above, what other people are doing, and not being attached to what other people are doing, but you're giving from a space that is eternal and that's infinite, a bit like what you'd see with the sun, or you would see with the diamond. For the diamond is seen as in the physical world as the ultimate thing that can't be broken unless you're using shards or bits of other diamond to create the shapes. And that's what we do. So once you find the fire within you and you put a, like a log next to it, obviously it's going to catch fire. So you find your own allies in the process, and you realize that everything around me, around us, are all diamonds, and therefore we can help other people who are either further down the track or further up to align with our vision and our mission. And therefore you become this beautiful, in a sense, you become your own style in that space too. And it holds no, it may hold influences from past teachers or past, teachings, but when you're in the present, it matters not. It has no influence. Ultimately, it's its own. You are your own person, your own identity, and that can't be described and it can't be defined or put in a box. So people never know what is the next thing this person may do. But at least that's what I feel from this gene key, this creative aspect. It just has this bundle of energy. Um, it feels to me a balance between the yin and the yang of surrender and action, um, because you're yielding to something of listening within, and then you're applying that in the present, in the physical space, um, through any means necessary. But it's coming from a space of truth, not from a space of ego. So the creative aspect of style is using your style to maybe show something, but there's a paradox that's lying underneath that. And that's taking you within to that deeper core of exquisiteness, that inner light, that, inner vibration or frequency that people can resonate. So they can't just say, oh, he's just being a reactionary. There's something deeper than that. So yeah, that's where my little, riddles are coming into this space with this Jinky 8.
Thank you, Costa, for the transmission. That was quite, yes, deep and covered so much from this archetype, and yeah, just touched all the process of going through these bands of frequencies. And yes, this 8, I have the other part of the channel, Jinky 1, in my SQ, and together these two keys are forming a channel called the channel of inspiration, and actually is a place in the throat. It's a key related to the expression, to the unique expression of each of us. And it's bringing out this uniqueness, this unique frequency signature that we are born with. And we are here to bring it out in the world in a unique way. And I was contemplating what is keeping us in the mediocrity, what is blocking us, holding us back of expressing our unique creative spirit that is inside us. And there are these fears that are coming with this archetype, the fear of being different. Because being different is challenging you to stand up and to have the courage to take responsibility of what feels inside, and to have the courage to express that, and not, even if you are meeting rejection, or you are meeting, I don't know, adversity, or you are not accepted, you are not receiving external validation. So the fear of being different is one of the main blockers. And then the other is the fear of your own power, the fear of being successful, because when true creative rebel is expressing, it becomes magnetic, and it brings this quality of the leadership, and everyone will project on this person that it can represent a new trend, a new way, a new style, a new lifestyle even. And that is where we can go back into mediocrity, because we are often tempted to go into the ego part and be, I don't know, special, feeling special, and not losing the contact with the true essence that is expressing through ourselves, and be just another influencer. Or we can see this this archetype playing out in our society in many different ways. The spiritual way, the social media is creating these paper tigers, this surface differentiated archetypes, but actually they stay on the surface if they are not connected to the true spirit that wants to be expressed. And so these are the fears that are holding us back, and keeping us in the mediocrity. And it's interesting, at the level of the style of the gift, it feels, and this is something that we all feel when we express authentically from the perfect timing, from the inner calling of expressing a truth or something that's moving through us in our unique way, rather than just repeating and saying what others wants to hear, and what we know that will be validated and is safe, and it's keeping us in this comfort zone. When we are speaking from this authentic, honest, transparent place that is inside us, it feels effortless. It feels, maybe it doesn't feel extraordinary, but it feels like opening up this throat, this expression gate, this and it's nourishing. We don't feel entropy. We don't feel losing energy in our system, but and being trapped in a little box without energy. But we feel this opening, this expansion that is not related so much to the form, but to the to the flow of the energy that is moving upwards from the roles we are playing, but in a unique way. It doesn't depend on the role. It doesn't get identified with a role and therefore get stuck in that role and in that identity. It continuously transcends that identity and that role, and it can be a pure new expression every time in each moment. It doesn't depend on something we think we are or we get to think we are. And that's when our whole life becomes art, and we become so transparent in being so ourselves, our true self, that the force of creation, of creativity, is allowing to experience itself, to express itself through ourselves, through our unique mixture of qualities and flavors of the Siddhic frequency, and we become one with art itself. This is not just about fashion, about a trend, about something that is yes, trendy, but is timeless, is a timeless art, is a timeless expression that is coming out through ourselves.
Yeah. It's also interesting because you're seeing it more from like the feminine side in a way, which it is, because I just double checked the hexagram, which is the different trigrams that you see in a gene key or in the ancient system of the I Ching. In fact, it does have 5 yin lines to one yang line. And it's funny because it all resonates to the same source. I do feel it is from the flow that then the creativity comes out, because that's where the essence derives from. But then when you go into the timeless realm, for me, that is transcending both the two together, the yin and the yang, and it's going to what is in some ways the neutral aspect of it, or we don't even discuss it because it's the unmanifest in a way. And that becomes quite powerful because it's however you want to play with this dance, it's still taking you to where you need to go. And when you look at the programming partner um, of this gene key 14, it has the other way around, right? It has 5 lines that are yang and 1 line that's um, yin, and that is describing more or imbibing more the action steps of what it takes to be competent at the gift level, and then to be bounteous where you feel the abundance coming through you, and not compromising, which is in line with mediocrity. Because if you're mediocre, then you're compromising your true self, and like you shared, you're afraid to be different or you're afraid to be successful, and you can see how those take place, especially if it's in a compromise, because you, at its essence, it means you're not even realizing it, or you're afraid to go into the fear. But in style, you're like, no, I'm going to dare myself. I dare myself to test the person, or somebody that if you're spoken down to, you're not, it doesn't mean you're not accepting it. It just means you're not applying resistance. And in that non-resistance, you're either using the energy that you feel is coming up that wants to react in a way that's going to be creative. And that's diffusing the energy in a way. So then it becomes neutral because it's coming like an alchemist turning lead into gold. Um, yeah, so there's a lot here. I love the Jinky 8. I happen to have it in my attraction. So I can see how it plays out in my relationships. I can see how it plays out in the world and how it works in the collective. And if you're seen in some cases as the underdog and you feel you're right, I will rebel against that. And because it just doesn't go away. It's like, well, if I hide it, I know what happens to me. If I don't hide it, then at least it's out in the open, and we can be free with it, and allow whatever's going to come to that space so that we can move all in the right direction. Um, and so this idea of the exquisiteness and the diamond um, is great because it's what's the reflection on the outside from the deeper aspects on the inside. So it's style, it's you're ever changing, but it's still providing that creative juices of when things are mixed in with the shadow, because you're playing with that. There's still the fear that's coming through, maybe the emotions, maybe the thought patterns. But exquisiteness, you're still on a stage, but it's the resting stage is a deep knowing of recognition that you are the divine, that you are coming into the timeless realm, and you can go into that space a lot more in the present than you would be on a gift level. And then that would take you on its own journey to the next level after that. But people will feel that from you every time they're with you in your presence. I'm always reminded of the human being as being the vessel, and the vessel is for something else to come in. So you empty out what is not needed, and then you allow something else to grow in that space. And so, what we can do as humans is just to apply that as a seed mantra to grow and to cultivate and to embrace. So, whatever is coming into us, if we're living in a space of mediocrity or we're compromising it, then use that compromise, use that mediocrity to be enlightened. Use whatever is coming through as an alchemy to change. And when you speak up to something that you feel deep within, that's empowering you. It's not disempowering you, and it's reminding you of your power. And that's the most important thing. If you don't feel you need to speak up, then you surrender to what is within. And it doesn't mean you're giving up. It doesn't mean you're resigning yourself. It's allowing yourself to remove the resistance first, and then you take action. And that action will come from a space that's more powerful than an action that's coming from an emotional charge response. And the more we can apply this, the more we're going to start to build into this world heaven and earth as one. And that's the reminder of being exquisite. You sing, oh wow, like I love this wonder. And yeah, we go from there.
Mm. Yes, I can feel the frequency of the eighth Jinki coming through your voice from a deeply embodied place, and it's beautiful to recognize it and to hear it. Yes, this hexagram is water over earth, and it's part of the codon ring of water, and that means it's not something, a form or something that we are bringing as a known thing, as you were saying, but it's more like, or more this opening, receptive place. And this is, I feel, a secret of this, of unlocking this archetype, because when we express authentically, or we look at someone who expresses authentically, and we feel this attraction, we feel inspired, we feel reflected, mirrored, something that we are not, maybe, and it invites us to be ourselves, but at the surface we see the form. So that person is dressing in a certain way or is speaking in a certain way, and then we are attracted by the form and not by the rebellious spirit that is inviting us to find our own authentic expression. And sometimes is this fear of being seen as our true selves, and the temptation to hide certain parts of ourselves, because when we were children, we expressed everything, and then we started hearing why you are not behaving more like your sister or your brother, or it started with this comparison that taught us that we um, we have to compromise. We have to hide those parts that are not accepted by the society, by the others. And we started compromising our true selves and cutting parts and wings of our spirit, of our diamond. So it needs this inner rebellion to say, no, I cannot conform anymore. I cannot act like everyone else. I need to love myself enough in order to bring out my true expression. And this, so you don't need to receive permission from anyone else to be yourself. This daring to be yourself is really your mission, your purpose, your contribution to the whole. When you are so authentic and expressing your true self in such a transparent, honest way, that's when you serve and contribute to the whole. That's when your true individuality is shining out through this diamond and serving, mutating the collective field, because it brings something so original, something that was never expressed before, and that can drive the collective in a completely new way, and it can create a new pathway that serves the evolution of the collective. In the I Ching, this hexagram is called holding together, and it's interesting that it has this second jinki in the lower part of the hexagram that is unity. So when we, instead of being remaining in this comfort zone of saying the same things, or not resting in that unknown, not opening up to invite this creative force to express through ourselves without knowing how it will come out. And through this courage to not know in what way it will be expressed, we are inviting the archetype to use us, to use our design, to use our uniqueness to express the universal creative force. And that's this moment of courage, this moment of not losing our true self, but opening up to be the conduit of the primal creative force. So yes, and it can be a lonely journey, because sometimes what we are bringing is so different, is so unexpected, is so unique that it will be rejected. It will be, I don't know, punished, or it will be just, yes, a lonely pathway. But still, we don't need to compromise our truth.
Yeah, the key eight seems very individualistic in a way, because it's you battling against the masses of the unconscious and bringing the conscious in. And for a lot of people, because they're so succumbed to the comfort zones of what was, and to you bringing to what is, which is totally new and unique and different, it they can't, or they don't want to, like you say, accept it. So they'll use means to reject it and push you away until there's a familiarity to it, or they can see how it can, you know, short circuit their minds, that they can use it in the way or see as a benefit. So yeah, initially, because humans are just so drawn to habit, um, they don't want to change when life is all about change. The last point I want to mention too is also what you just brought up on the codon, the what is it, the ring of water.
Water, yes.
It's funny because water has both masculine and feminine connotations. The water element being the receiving end, that it can change form, and in some ways, it's also the yin of being able to yield. So it adapts from that form to a different element. And that's all very powerful because water has intelligence into it and it carries energy. Um, and so this key of this codon ring of water is what will actually unite people with the gene key too, and exquisiteness, because we're going to see more and more people that will be conscious, more and more people that will be a heightened state of frequency, operating from this unique place of, no, we're not going to go back to the old matrix mechanistic way, but we're going to rise above that to live our talents and live our gifts through earnest work or earnest practice into the spiritual realm, or also in the physical realm. But it's coming through in a way that you say, no, this is earned, hard, honest work, and people will feel that. People will always feel that when someone's speaking or acting or being around them. So that's what I feel this water is going to do. It's going to start just to dissolve what is unnecessary and then bring together what is necessary and what is essential. So I'm just wary of time. Any last
Yes.
words, Ibi, if you want to
Yes,
share?
just very, very shortly. We are in our epoch, in our times, we are so obsessed with seeking our uniqueness, finding our uniqueness. But actually, we are already unique. And it's about not standing in our own way, and instead of suppressing that specialness that is already there, just give it the expression, and taking out the conditioning, and have this courage to move this energy from the sacral, from the 14, through the center of orientation, which is the G center, and the second key, the magnetic monopole, and the first key, the beauty. And when we are expressing truly authentic, beauty will be the quality that is bringing exquisiteness, universal beauty to what we are creating, our art or our expression. Yes.
Wonderful put. Thanks, everybody. Next week or the weeks to come, we also will be exploring more of the profile sequences, maybe spheres. We'll just dabble and play. There's no agenda at this point, but just to move things in a different light, we're just sharing it to you today. And again, for anyone who's enjoyed this video or has any feedback, please write in the comments or any questions, and we can explore this in our videos too. So much love from me. Thank you,
Thank
Ibi.
you, Costa. Thank you, everyone, for being here.